What's up? Brandon Lilly here, representing Animal. Going to be talking to you guys today about some accessory work for the bench press. One of the things that people fail to do whenever they're picking their accessory work is to really understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. And it's important for lifters, especially power lifters, to understand how the mechanisms of their accessories are going to carry over to their main lift. If you're doing something that doesn't look like the main lift, you're probably not going to get the maximum benefit from it. So here's some tips on how you can make your accessory work better and how you can make your accessory work more beneficial to your training. So when I do a program, I write everything out, and I understand that my body and the lift is a chain of movements. So in the bench press, when I bench, this is what I feel. I grip the bar with my hands. I flex my triceps, my lats. I lower the bar with my lats, creating a bunch of resistance there. The first thing I do when I reverse the bar is engage my triceps. Now, as I engage my triceps and I'm pushing out, I rotate outward into my shoulders. And finally, at the very top, I flex my pecs together. So for me, the importance and the hierarchy of movements would be lats first, triceps second, delts third, and pecs fourth. So in doing my programming, I'm going to do the main lift first, obviously. Always, 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 as a power lifter, lead off with your competition lift. And by competition lift, I mean if you have a start command, practice a start command. If you have a pause, practice the pause. If you have a rack command, practice the rack. At Iron Mafia, where I train, we always do a 2-second hold, a 2-second pause, or a 2-count pause. It's more like 1-2 press, and then a 2-count rack. So when you get to a meet, if you got a judge that's a little slow on the calls, you're ready for it. If you've got somebody that's fast on the calls, you're ahead of the game. So what we do, we'll do our bench, we'll do our main movement, and then we'll immediately go into an accessory movement that complements the bench. Whether that's a pause press off the chest, whether it could be close grip presses for the triceps, it could be anything. But our secondary movement sort of mimics the first movement, and it's an assistance movement just to the bench press. Now, from there, if I'm really, really fast off my chest and I feel really, really strong lowering it, I have to decide, okay, what is more important for me at this point? Is it more tricep work or more lat work? At that point, most of the time I'll do my lat work first, but if I'm really feeling good and confident taking the bar down in that initial reversal with my lats, then I'll probably put my lats further down the line, maybe even third, because they're strong enough. I need to address the things that are weakest first. Now, I'll be doing something like, let's say my triceps are showing me a weakness. I'm not being able to transition into my shoulders and locking out properly. I'm probably going to do some pause presses. I might even do some skull crushers. Doing something like tricep press downs. Now, I am guilty. I like to do tricep press downs for one reason. They put a lot of mass on your triceps, and mass equals force. But as I've gotten better and I've gotten stronger as a lifter, I've stopped doing them more so as a building movement and done them more as a finisher just to pump some blood in there. So my building movements must replicate the lift. Now, if I had a choice or an explanation here, it would be something like a skull crusher. And instead of doing a skull crusher here, where the triceps are a little bit back, I want to lower it down more to my throat. And that way it's going to kind of mimic the movement of a bench press. That's going to be more effective than doing a tricep kickback. Okay? So again, the more it looks like the movement, the more benefit it's going to have to your main movement. So let's say day one on my bench press, I do the skull crushers first. And when you're picking these exercises, you want to do 3 to 5 sets, and you want to build muscle. You don't want to sit there and just try to tax the muscle with heavy, heavy weight. We've already proven that heavy weight is causing a failure. So what we need to do is back the weights down, use weights that we can use in the 6 to 10 to 12 rep range. And then what that is going to do is that's going to cause hypertrophy. It's going to cause new muscle growth. So that is going to eliminate weaknesses. That is going to give you the muscle that will be able to, in the future, handle weights that you couldn't handle previously. So 3 to 5 sets, 6 to 12 reps. And like I said, second movement or my first accessory movement after my 2 main movements would be triceps. Secondary movement, accessory movement will be lats, maybe pull downs. Now look, you can sit there and do pull downs to the front all day long. You can do that. You can do them behind the neck. That's not going to benefit your bench press. Lay back and pull down to the chest, or do seated cable pulleys and pull to the chest. That's going to benefit your bench press more so than doing lat pulls high or doing barbell rows from the ground. Make the lat work, or make your accessory work for you. So I always like to lean back a little bit on the lat pull down or do the cable pulleys low when I'm doing bench press. Or I might even do a fully bent over dumbbell row because I can actually hit the lat in the same type movement as I'm lowering the barbell. Now, I've got my tricep movement, I've got my lat movement. Now, that means I've got my delt movement. I can do something along the lines of front raises because that's going to help with my lockout, or I can do rear delt, which is going to help with the lowering of the bar, or I can do some side raises, which is just going to give some general movement. But my favorite movement, it's an old school movement, is the Arnold Press. It's where you hold the dumbbells facing forward, and then as you press them up, you rotate out, just like this. That's going to give you a lot of good rotation in the shoulder, which is always a benefit for powerlifters who are tight and bulked up in the shoulders. But it's also going to give you some pressing power. That doesn't necessarily mimic the bench press movement, but it is a press, and it's a rotational press. Just like in the bench press, you're going to rotate out. Arnold press, same thing. You're going to rotate out. So it does actually mimic the press, even if it doesn't look like it. Lastly, we're going to do the pecs. The pecs are not a major muscle group in powerlifting bench press, or they shouldn't be. It's not going to be something that you're going to build a ton of mass right here, but you do need to protect these tendons and these muscles out here on the side where a lot of guys get tears. So for me, I always like to do something where I get a deep stretch, kind of like Pec Flies, where I kind of open up the chest as much as I can, and I'll just do static holds down at the bottom, and then I'll kind of explode up and squeeze as hard as I can, trying to build as much blood flow in there as I possibly can. Blood flow equals recovery. So that's what you got to think about when you're doing these things. But allowing that stretch is going to open your shoulders up. It's going to allow them to pull back. It's going to pull back on those tendons. It's going to keep you safe. It's going to get you strong, and it's going to make you a much better bench presser. Hope these tips helped. Check back, and I'll get you guys next month. Thanks.